Hello and welcome to the United Stand. Is Jose Mourinho the right man for Manchester United? An odd question. Has he lost his mojo? Is he still the special one? Is he losing the plot? Are the public rants too much? Do you want, I was asked a fantastic question today, in fact, and I'm going to share it with you. Do you, because everyone knows I back Mourinho, and I'll explain why in a minute, but do you support Jose Mourinho? Do you back Jose Mourinho with your heart or with your eyes? Which I thought was just a great question because actually, you know what? I 100% back Jose Mourinho and I'll give you the reasons why in a minute. But it is with the heart at the moment because the eyes don't like what they see. I can't back Mourinho based on what I'm seeing on the pitch at the moment. It's not great. The tactics last night, long ball, wrong team selections. I agree with those criticisms. But my backing of Mourinho is based on my heart because I believe in him and I want him to do well. And he will do well. And I said it on Twitter today and I got a little bit of stick. I firmly believe, and I'll stand by it, I firmly believe he will win us the title next year. I am a stubborn individual, as I'm sure many of you are. But not stubborn to the sense that I would be stubborn like Van Gaal was, where I'll just keep banging my head against the brick wall with a formation. When I have an opinion on something, I make that mind up and I won't change it until the evidence, contrary to what my opinion is staring me in the face. And it's not staring me in the face in relation to Jose Mourinho. I back him 100%. I don't like some of the things he's doing. I totally agree with that. I don't agree with some of the things that he's doing, but I back him 100% and I think he's the right man. And I tell you what, I'm just going to touch on this very, very quickly. I don't want to shout other Manchester United content out, but I found it totally abhorrent today that there's content out there, one, about Jose Mourinho shouldn't be Manchester United manager, is not the right man. I mean, who is that idiot for a start, and why is anybody giving that any air? And I think the credibility of whoever's giving that air needs to be questioned. It's a bloody joke. You can hide behind, we're just giving everybody an opinion, but actually you're just frustrating, inciting, and trying to be like Arsenal Fan TV by, creating controversy that doesn't need to be there. We're not happy with the draws. Of course we're not happy with the draws, but that's a reaction straight after the game. To be peddling it a day later, you're just creating turmoil between Manchester United fans for no bloody reason. If you want Jose Mourinho out, then that's based on some sort of backgrounded opinion you've probably had from the start. If you want him out now, based on results recently, then go and support Man City because they're a great plastic club. We're a great club. He's not even had a season. Everybody gave Van Gaal at least 18 months and the writing was on the wall from the start, but nobody was shouting for Van Gaal to leave after the first season. And the second bit of content I've seen today that has really got my goat is it's the players, it's not Jose, I back Jose, it's the players are rubbish, get rid of the players. I'm doing a rubbish Manchester accent as a Scouser there, but that's idiotic. That is absolutely idiotic. To single out players as being responsible for Manchester United's form at the moment is idiotic. And I back Mourinho, but we win as a team, we draw as a team, and we lose as a team. And we haven't lost that many this season, but we do it as a team. So yesterday, if you want to have a pop at individual players, and I'll talk about Fellaini for you in a minute because I know exactly what people are going to say. We are taking your calls tonight, Skype, Goldbridge on Skype, which I need to open in a minute, and your Snapchats. But let me just say this. I don't individually blame players. I don't want Fellaini in the Manchester United shirt, but he doesn't pick himself and he doesn't put himself in the positions that on the pitch that he appears in the pitch. Mourinho picks him. Mourinho didn't pick Mkhitaryan and Martial yesterday. Mourinho changed the formation and went long ball yesterday. I back Jose Mourinho. I am not going to individually start finding excuses because of my frustration to individually scapegoat players. It's not on. We win as a team, we draw as a team, and it's not individual players' fault where we are at the moment. You can say we've missed chances, you can say referees have let us down and linesmen, you can also say Mourinho has picked the wrong team. But collectively, we are where we are. And in that collective, I put Manchester United fans. We're in this situation, we might well end up in 6th in a couple of hours' time, or now if you're watching later, but we deal with it collectively. Don't go down that path of small little clubs sensationalising and controversially trying to build up something that we as a club are better than that. And I know what you're throwing at me. Oh, I remember you having rants in the past. That was 18 months into a horrible, horrible era under Van Gaal, and I lost it. And I don't regret it because I wanted him gone. But we're nowhere near that. We're nowhere near that. And for all those people who are now saying, you always scapegoat Fellaini, you always have a go at Fellaini, I'll tell you what, I don't want Fellaini in a Manchester United shirt. And I can give, I've thought about this today. There are stats to back me up, and I hate stats, but I'll tell you this. Manchester United's best run of this season, and you won't believe this, you're probably going to fall off your chair, so fasten your seatbelt, because you won't actually believe this has actually happened based on how many draws we've had this season. But there was a phase between November, December and January where Manchester United won, listen to this, 6 Premier League games in a row we won. We beat Spurs, it was December to January to be fair, Spurs, Palace, West Brom, Sunderland, Middlesbrough and West Ham. That's 6 Premier League games. We won them in a row. Can you believe it? We won 6 games in a row. Now here's the one for you. Guess how many games Marouane Fellaini played in that 6-game run? 5. He started the game against Middlesbrough. We were losing 1-0 and he was taken off after 60 minutes and we won 2-1. So really, we won 6 games in a row without Marouane Fellaini. So when I have a pop at Fellaini, and I've been doing it for 2 years, it's based on the fact that he's not good enough for Manchester United. And in the midfield, he's rubbish. He's too slow. He's got no passing range. It slows us down. It makes us very predictable. And it makes us very, very easy to defend against. Individually, that's not his fault. It's not his fault. If you were asked to play for Manchester United on Sunday against Sunderland, or I was asked to play against Manchester United against Sunderland on Sunday, I would do it. I love the club. I'd run through brick walls. I'd be worse than a blindfolded Joey Barton playing for Manchester United because I've got no fitness, my best days are behind me, I'm not a professional footballer. I'd still do it. So you can't criticise Fellaini for pulling on a Manchester United shirt. You know who you can criticise? Jose Mourinho. His obsession with Fellaini is ridiculous. And why can't he see what we see every day that Manchester United play, that him as a midfielder makes us a worse team? He's not a midfielder of the top 4 quality anywhere near it. Fellaini at his best, like Middlesbrough a couple of weeks ago, isn't even good enough to play for Manchester United against the good sides. He's a championship player as a midfielder. He's a mid-table number 10. That's what Fellaini's ceiling is. But if you don't want to listen to that fact that I've just told you 6 games in a row that we won and Fellaini never kicked a ball, our best run of the season, he wasn't even on the pitch. And Mourinho can't figure that out. But if you want even better stats than that, and I'm not a stat man, but I can give you them because I know some of you are, we've got a 38% win rate when Marouane Fellaini plays for Manchester United. You've got a 57% win rate when he doesn't. That's 20% better. Now, Mourinho's career win rate is 60%. So we've virtually got Mourinho's win rate when we don't pick Fellaini. 38% is worse than Moyes' win rate at Manchester United. So the writing's on the wall. It's very, very obvious. But it's not down to individual players. For me to come here tonight and say, the reason we're not succeeding as a club is Fellaini's fault, or Lingard's fault, or Martial's fault, or Rashford's fault, it's totally and utterly unfair on them individuals. You can criticise them as players. You can say they're not good enough, but they're not picking themselves. They're being picked by somebody else. Now, I don't know what Fellaini's doing at training. Maybe he's turning up 2 hours early. He's ironing the kit. He's cutting the grass. He's getting the tea on. He's spit polishing Mourinho's shoes. He's driving him home. He's doing his shopping for him. God knows. He's obviously doing fantastic things in training. But it's what's on the pitch that matters. It's not good enough, and the stats back it up. But he doesn't pick the team. And to back that up, Lingard and Fellaini are being offered new contracts, if you believe reports. Now, I know that would cause absolute uproar. They shouldn't be being offered contracts. They're not good enough. But that's the manager's fault. But players not putting the ball in the back of the net. We've seen a lot of that. Something like 300 chances, we've put it in the net 8 times, something like that. Not good enough. That's not good enough. Refereeing decisions have gone against us. Not good enough. But it's a collective. So when you get people coming on and individually saying it's not Jose's fault, it's the players, it's a load of nonsense. It's just controversial. Look at me, watch what I'm saying, crap. And people are peddling that. And it's not conducive to us getting any better. The press will jump on it like they have on Arsenal Fan TV, and it's a negative slight on our club. We are not in a negative position. The press are trying to tell us, Van Gaal had 2 more points than Mourinho had after 29 games. This is Van Gaal's first season. We weren't even in Europe. We weren't even in the Europa League when Van Gaal had his first season. We hadn't won the League Cup. Oh, wow. Van Gaal was 2 points better off than we are now. Mourinho has been in Europe. He's won us a trophy. We've been going for absolutely everything there. And the big difference between Van Gaal and Mourinho is Mourinho's having to deal with the 2 years of crap that Van Gaal inflicted on us. So it's nonsense. I don't want Jose out. I've got no doubts about Jose Mourinho personally. Has he lost his mojo? I think he's recovering from a horrible period at Chelsea where players just down tools, and I think he has got issues. I don't like some of his public comments. I'll be honest with you. I said it today, and somebody pulled me up on this. I said Sir Alex Ferguson never publicly had a go at players. I was told that he did about Nani, and he did it about Rooney. What, twice in nearly 30 years? Mourinho's probably done it about 15 times in 8 months. It's not good enough. He should not be publicly having a go at players. Luke Shaw yesterday came on for half an hour. He stopped 2 potential goals defending headers, and then his shot created the handball. Mourinho's asked about it after the game, and Mourinho says it's Luke Shaw's body, but it's Mourinho's mind. I mean, he's defying genetics. He's defying science. Apparently, it's Mourinho's head in Luke Shaw's body. It's ridiculous. Why can't you just give him a bit of positivity? Why publicly do you have to sort of embarrass him? And this, people have called it bullying. It's not bullying. It's a management tactic. It's called tough love. It doesn't work with everybody, and he needs to wind it in. And Sir Alex Ferguson's meant to be his confidant. He needs to have a word with him and say, stop the public stuff. The fans don't like it. It's not good for your persona. I'm sure the players don't like it. Keep it in-house. And also, I'd say, stop picking Fellaini, because that obsession's going to kill you. Our best run of the season, 6 wins in a row, he didn't play. We win 58% of the games when he doesn't play. We only win 38% when he does. Stop picking him. Whether he's your boyfriend, your lover, your lost son, whatever, stop picking him, because it's not good for Manchester United. And that's a joke, obviously. But individualising it, saying it's Mourinho's fault, saying it's players' fault, saying it's bad referees, come on, let's grow up. We're Manchester United fans. It's a collective. It's a collective. And when people come out and start saying, Mourinho out, or it's not Mourinho, it's the players, it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. Grow up. And, let's take some of your opinions anyway. I've had my say. Liverpool have equalised. I don't care. Liverpool, we're always going to win tonight. Top 4's gone as far as I'm concerned. I would love to be proven wrong on that, but I think we had a chance at top 4 and we've blown it. But I do believe we can win the Europa League, and we've got to believe it, because if you don't believe, what do we have? That's interesting. I'm trying to open up Skype and it's not working. Oh, great when you're live. Oh, that's fantastic, isn't it? Absolutely bloody fantastic. Should have opened it before. Okay, let's try again. Okay, it is opening now. That's good. That's good news. Brilliant. Okay, let's get Snapchat open. Skype Goldbridge, all one word, is the Skype name. Has Jose Mourinho lost his mojo? Get Skyping in. And whilst we're waiting for some Skype callers, in fact, we've got one, which is one of my favourites. Let's get her on. Carisha, can you hear me?
Hey, Mark.
How you doing?
Fine. Well, not really.
Go on,
fine, because Manchester United has been getting on my nerve.
Okay, tell us what you're thinking then. Has Jose Mourinho lost his mojo?
No, I haven't. And I'm just listening to you saying you can't blame the players and all of this, but the players are why we're here. I want to say something. You're kind of, in a way, I know that some things you say you are actually biased sometimes when I listen to you. I'm saying you're saying that Mkhitaryan and Martial are best or are our best wingers. I'm not saying that's a lie. But what have they done so far? They haven't done anything. Mkhitaryan has had moments of brilliance. He hasn't been great. And Martial, when is the last time Martial had a good game? As much as he didn't like Lingard, I see why he picked Lingard over Mkhitaryan when we were playing Everton, because Lingard was our best attacking player in that West Brom game.
I tell you what, I'll throw something in there, because I can tell you stats about Fellaini. I can also tell you in relation to Martial, it makes no difference whether he starts or not in relation to our win rate, because it's around 50% for both. I just think Martial is head and shoulders above Lingard, and I think Mkhitaryan is head and shoulders above Rashford, and I would have played them yesterday, but that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, listen, everybody's saying at the beginning of the season we have a squad. Well, when you look at it, we might have the best squad, but the qualities with the players are too close. We have too many average players. What's the big difference between Marcus Rashford and Martial right now? There's no big difference.
I think I think as a left winger there is. I just think Rashford as a left winger is a total waste of time. I thought he was awful last night. I thought the Everton right back had him in his pocket, but maybe I'm seeing it differently.
I don't like him as a left winger either. But Martial hasn't been doing anything either. As much as you want to look at it, you know what I don't like. And why I won't blame Mourinho for this, because he brought in players. He brought in 4 players. Everybody's saying that he spent a lot of money, but those 4 players are playing good.
I agree. I think you're spot on there. You name me a manager who signs 4 players and all of them are good signings. But what I'm trying to say is here, I'm not trying to pick on certain players. I'm just saying that I think fans are frustrated, which I understand, but we're all scrapping for reasons to be frustrated. But I actually think it's just a combination of things. I mean, yesterday Mourinho picked the team. I think it was the wrong one. Then the second half, he admitted, I don't know whether you've heard this, Carisha, he said, my team is lacking confidence, so I went long ball in the second half. Well, if the team's lacking confidence, you're the manager. And admitting to go long ball at Old Trafford, it's just not, that there's a big problem when you've got to go long ball because your team's got no confidence. And that, as a manager, you've got to be responsible for that.
Okay. You were talking about long balls. It's because none of our wingers decided to take on anybody. Everybody just got the ball and decided to throw it in. So it's on the players to decide what they want to do. You know why I'm not blaming Murray? Can you train an attack? I'm looking at myself. Can you tell the person when you're training, our defense is good? Well, our midfielders, only 2 midfielders, because we only have 2 midfielders, Under Era and Paul Pogba. Those guys are the only one I look at, because Carl in decline. As much as you want to pretty it up, he deserve another contract. He's under decline. So we only have Under Era and Pogba. That's all we have in the midfield. So we need to do something about that midfield. But when it comes to our attack, we've been bringing them up and all those stuff, and they're not doing anything. It's our attackers. You can't train the attack. You can train midfield, telling them where to stand and this. But when you decide, what they decide to put on the field is all up in their head. And another thing, what I was saying is that last year, when I'm looking back at it, and last year we were practically a 1-man team last year too, because we only had Martial, right?
Yeah.
So he brought in Zlatan, right? And Martial this season decided, okay, he's not going to show up. And you can't blame Jose Mourinho for that, because from the beginning of preseason, I looked at Martial when he came back, and I was like, Martial does not look like Martial of last season. I don't know. From preseason, I said he looked different. He's been having problems from then. So we bought Zlatan, and Zlatan is the only one that decided to show up this year. How can you blame Jose Mourinho when he expected Martial to show up? Mkhitaryan, as I said, hasn't been brilliant. He's had moments of brilliance. He hasn't been great through one entire game. That's what I'm talking about. So what are we now? A 1-man team again? Because the players haven't showed up again. So you can't blame the manager. It's the same thing with Martial. So you need to start looking at... Last year, Martial was our only player until Rashford came about. If this year, he only brought in 2 attackers. Zlatan has been great. Mkhitaryan, he has been okay. But if Martial and Rashford decide not to show up, what is he supposed to do?
It's a good point, Carisha. I've got to get other colours on. We could talk all night, but thanks very much for your call. Really good points. I think she's gone. I actually do agree about Carrick. I tweeted it out earlier. I feel sad to say this because I love him, but the talk of giving him a new contract, he's on the decline. He's got to go. It's living in the past, really. But as I said to Carisha there, I understand where she's getting on with her opinion about Martial and Mkhitaryan. But again, I just think we're blaming individual players again. Mourinho picks the team. He played long ball yesterday. He's saying players have got no confidence. Is that anything to do with the fact that he publicly berates them all the time? He's picked the team all season. He's made these substitutions that we've not been sure about. And I back Mourinho, so I'm not blaming Mourinho. What I'm backing here is that it's not just the players' fault. It's Mourinho's fault as well. It's a collective. We win as a team, we draw as a team. And I think what we're trying to do in our frustration is trying to say, oh, it's Lingard's fault, it's Fellaini's fault, it's Martial's fault, it's Mkhitaryan's fault, but it's not Jose's fault. And we're sort of falling for his propaganda, really, because that's what he does. He comes out after every game and says, it's me, it's because of me, it was my brain in Luke Shaw's head that made him shoot that goal and Ashley Williams handball it. I'm surprised he didn't say he was in Ashley Williams' head as well. It's funny. He's like Zlatan. He's got a funny personality. But the reality is he's as culpable as everybody else. And unfortunately, when you're the captain of the ship, it wasn't the captain of the Titanic's fault it hit an iceberg. It was the people watching it. But the captain gets the blame, and you have to go down with your ship. We're not going down. But I don't agree with the scapegoating, and I don't agree with Mourinho being given a free pass. But flipping that the other way around, I don't agree with anybody who's saying Mourinho needs to go, because he is the right man. But I don't like the scape. I suppose I'm trying to defend us from becoming the crap you see down at Arsenal every week. We're not that. We're better than that.
Have to go down
and it's a collective thing. We've got to deal with it together, and we'll come out of it together. Stephen, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi Mark.
Hi pal. What do you want to say? Hello? We had him, we lost him. We might be able to get him back again. Hello, Stephen, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry mate, not sure what happened there.
It's alright. What did you want to say?
I agree with what you just said. I think the captain of the Titanic thing, I was just about to call up and say to you, if you, say, for example, handed over ownership of the United stand to someone else and it started going into decline, would you blame the people watching who are a part of it, or would you blame the person overseeing it? I think there's got to be a balance. I think it's not just Mourinho and it's not just the players, but I think all over the club there are massive issues, and I think things like the League Cup have papered over those cracks a little bit. But I think it's concerning. Like yesterday, I had zero. I know some people thought we were going to do well. I had very little confidence that we were going to get anything from that game, and I hate that. I'm so bored of drawing and just. I was looking at the our league positions. Under Ferguson, it was like first, second, first, third, never fourth, and now we've had what seventh, fourth, fifth. Oh, and it's just we're in real danger of Man United just becoming like an Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's concerning watching.
In relation to Mourinho, a few people, I think wrongly, have been having a pop at him today, saying he's not the right man for Manchester United, he's lost it, this, that and the other. I mean, I can sort of understand it, because he had a bad last season at Chelsea. He did lose the dressing room. He did, lose a lot of games. Have you got any concerns about him at Manchester United?
Well, it's interesting, this eyes and heart thing that you got asked earlier, because I think with my heart, I just want him to be a success and be the Mourinho of old. And then I've got all these things coming into my head saying he shouldn't be doing this, he shouldn't be doing that. I don't see what good publicly slating a 21-year-old player over and over again. I don't know what that's going to achieve. I think managers have different styles, but I think United is such a big club that you kind of have to lay down a little bit of your personal leanings, shall we say, and you have to manage Man U in a way that is fitting of the club that you're representing. So I think some of the things he's doing, I just cringe. I just think, oh, why don't air your dirty laundry? Just deal with that in house. Stand firm. If you don't stand firm as a team publicly, then how are those players going to go out and fight for Mourinho when he's stitching them up he's a brilliant manager, and we all know what he's won and what he's achieved. But when you look at the decline at Chelsea last year, he just made some. It all started with the fitness coach. I can't remember her name. And
Eva, somebody, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it just kind of tailspinned, and he lost respect. And I think he is brilliant, and I'm like you. I think he's the right man. But I just really hope he shifts a bit in some of the way he approaches things, because at the moment, to say what he said yesterday, was laughable. It makes it seem like he's losing it. I mean, it's just crazy. If I said it's just my body speaking, but it's your mind doing the work, people would think I was a lunatic. So for him to come out and say something like that, it's just weird.
I know. I think there'll be an FA ban coming for that, because I'm sure it must be illegal to put your brain into a player's head. But
well, yeah, it's probably in the rule book.
It is interesting. It is interesting, the situation we're in. Go on.
Sorry, can I just say something about Zlatan as well, because this has been riling me as well. This whole him being coy about his Man United future thing, I think one of the biggest problems we've got this year. I know it's a balance and there's lots of things going wrong, but one of the biggest things is that our strikers aren't doing well enough. So Zlatan has scored 27 goals this season. The next highest scorer after him is Mata with 10, and then there's a smattering of players: Martial, Rashford, Mkhitaryan, who have 7, and after that it's like 5s, 3s, and 1s. So we're not scoring enough goals this season. So Zlatan, we're all grateful for him, because we'd be languishing in the bottom half of the table if it wasn't for him. But at the same time, him doing all this whole no one knows the future stuff is so annoying. And I think for him to come out and say, I'm going to leave as a god or whatever, like, that's him saying it. And I don't think Eric Cantona ever referred to himself as the king. That was the fans' choice to say, it was King Eric. So I think for Zlatan to put that title on himself, I would consider what Van Persie did to be far greater than what he's done. And I think
he won the league, didn't he?
Yeah, and I think he's a brilliant player and we need him, but we're not going to prostitute ourselves to him. Like, I'd stick him on the bench and say, right, if you're not going to commit your future, we need to know what we're going to look like next season, because we're going to struggle for top 4. He's slowing us down, and I know that seems, some people would have a go at that, because I think he has scored loads of goals, but right now I think, and he scored yesterday, but someone else might have scored that penalty. But I do find it really irritating that a club as big as Manchester United, he's making weight. Like, ooh, what's he going to do? We need him. Like, if that's his attitude towards Manchester United, then, so be it. I'd rather get someone else in who loves the club than have that.
Thanks, Stephen. Great call. Please do call in again. And I don't disagree with a lot of what you said.
All right, cheers, mate.
Cheers, pal. Thank you. Trying to get as many on as we can tonight, but it is a good call, because I'm very obviously Manchester United fan, but I think Mourinho actually, I think a lot of what he does comes across embarrassing, because he's dealing with a class of fan that he's probably never dealt with before. Certainly not at Chelsea. Certainly not at Real Madrid. And at Inter Milan, I don't know much about their fans, but Manchester United fans aren't stupid, and I think he's come out with a lot of bordering on ridiculous comments that Manchester United fans love football, understand their football, and we've had 3 decades of the best sports manager there's ever been, who really, in the main, didn't come out with idiotic comments about his own players. And can you imagine Sir Alex Ferguson coming out and saying that wasn't Ronaldo today, that was his body in my mind? It's just like, it's arrogant, and we knew we'd get that with Mourinho, but when it's stupid and arrogant, it sort of feeds the critics petrol on the fire. And I look at some of the comments there, and a lot of people back in Mourinho, which is great, and like I am, but we're not in this situation where, I mean, I have seen people saying Mourinho out. I mean, Mourinho needs to be sacked if we don't get top 4. He could lose every single game between now and the end of the season, both against Anderlecht and every game in the league, and he won't go this summer. It's not on the cards. So if you want that, you better just shut your mouth up and hope that we lose every game next season, because he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere this summer, no matter what. So bunker down and back the team and back the manager. It's not been good enough. Everyone's got a right to be frustrated. But my theme is this: that it's a collective. It's a collective. There's no individual. If you've got a problem with an individual player, and everyone knows I've got a problem with Fellaini playing for Manchester United, that problem has to be with the manager, because he picks the team. These players don't pick themselves. Rashford belongs in the reserves, says Dav OK. If Eva was ugly, no one would even talk about it, says Bazake. And don't state the obvious, says Beck. Oh, he's talking to Beck. Oh, look at Wood. Mourinho has lost it, says somebody else. Over the top and unnecessary treatment of Shaw last night, says Kev McGee. DT United says he loves Zlatan, but he's not bigger than the club. I don't like the bigger than the cup comments. Rude9 the Master says Mourinho telepathically told Shaw to take that short shot that led to the penalty. He'd have you believe that. Game of blame and Mourinho is a hypocrite. Well, he did make that comment I saw on Twitter last night that he said that something about Rashford's young and he doesn't take criticism very well, but 3 days before he publicly said that he's rubbish. And also the confidence thing that he came out with, I just found baffling. He said, Manchester United, I had to go long ball in the second half because my players are lacking in confidence. Well, it was fatigue before the international break and now it's confidence. Well, confidence in April, Mark, correct yourself. Players haven't got confidence in April. You've had 8 months with them. Why haven't they got confidence? Is it because you've been publicly having a go at them all the time? Do you need to adjust your message to your audience like all good managers should? Like I said, it's not Mourinho's fault. It's not individual players' fault. It's not referees' fault. It's a collective. And for those who are watching us live at the moment, I think all the results are starting to go against us. Arsenal are winning, which puts us back into 6th. And Liverpool will win. They're 1-1 at the moment. Spurs are losing to Swansea, and City are losing, of course, as well. But I don't really give a damn about what everybody else above us is doing because we're not winning games to catch up. Rodney, can you hear me?
I can, Mark. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Give us your thoughts, pal.
Do you know what? Listening to the phone and the calling before and the points that have been made, I think, as you said, one, it's a collective, but I think more importantly, we need to take a look at where we are as a club. We've had 2 managers which have brought in players that we probably wouldn't want. We've got a mindset in the club, and I have to call it a mindset, where we don't have winners. And I watched that game last night and I thought to myself, I went to the game on Saturday and honestly, it was like watching a Wimbledon final, the amount of times the ball went side to side. We don't have a killer instinct in our team. Zlatan calls himself the main man because he is the main man. We've got no one else to go to when we need to get a goal. And even when he is playing, we're probably only going to get the 1 goal because no one else is going to deliver. So for me, I have to take stock and think, you know what? Where we are is where we're meant to be. The league doesn't lie. We can draw as many games as we want, but we should have won those games. But we haven't won those games because we haven't got the caliber of players, or those players haven't reached the necessary caliber to play and deliver what we have been fed for many, many years. We've been used to winning, and winning, not just winning like Carling Cups or we've been used to winning the league, and we want that again. And I think it's more important for us to take stock in terms of where the team is right now and think, okay, again, I think I mentioned this in the last time, we've got, like with Pogba, and I don't really kind of single him out, we spent a lot of money on a player that for me isn't as dynamic as I would want in a Man United shirt. I want to see that kind of, not about the money, but the dynamism and the hunger and the will to win, and basically the hard-nosed approach that whoever has the ball on the opposition, we're going to get it back and we're going to actually batter you at home instead of just settling for a 0-0 or a 1-1 or a 2-2. To be honest, I can't wait for the season to end so that we can start rebuilding properly, because I really, really think I'm for the manager staying. All these people talking about get him out, honestly, they're on some short-term thinking. We gave Van Gaal 2 years and he brought in players that he shouldn't have, and he got rid of players that he shouldn't have. I want Mourinho to succeed. I want our club to go back to the days when, one, we entertained the fans, we entertained the greater public, because everyone knows our club and the brand and what it means. But also, I want us to actually go out there and say, you know what, anyone that comes to Old Trafford, we're going to bash them up. We're going to bash them up physically, and we're going to bash them up in terms of football, and we're going to let them leave here with 4 or 5 goals and then think, we can't go there again, we've got to shut up shop. But no one is coming to Old Trafford thinking that. And I can understand why Mourinho stands on the sideline looking, thinking, how in the hell are the players that he's picked not scoring goals? Because I was at that game on Saturday, and I'm telling you, when I left, I didn't even know what to say. I wanted to contact the show, but I thought, you know what? I was too far. I wasn't even upset. I was fed up. If I was, I was fed up. I was fed up in the sense that I'm used to it now. I don't even have a reaction to say, because my partner and my family will ask, "Is your team winning? Have they won?" And if I say yes or no, then they know to stay clear of me for the next 2 hours. I don't even have that kind of like reaction again. I just think, yeah, they didn't win, we didn't lose, but you know what's on
I think it's a
television.
good point, because when you think about the Stoke and the Burnley and the West Ham games, we've been consistently saying, "Oh, that's 2 points drop. That's 2 point drop." But the last two games, I think the draws have been the right result. I don't believe, you know, some of the comments Mourinho makes frustrate me, but the one that really frustrated me last night, if it wasn't for the Linesman, we win that game 2-1. Does he believe that we are that thick as United fans that just because we equalise with an offside goal, we're then going to score a penalty in the last minute? Everton could quite easily have gone up the other end and scored and won 3-1.
You know what? You're right. Mourinho was he's trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat, but the thing is, he hasn't got the hat. He's trying every trick in the book to be on side with the fans. And if he comes out and lambasts a player, then we say we're on him, saying he shouldn't do that. But then the players that he picks don't deliver. You know, basically he's caught between a rock and a hard place.
So what would you do? What would you do between now and the end of the season I think top four's gone. I hope I'm proven wrong. But with the Europa League, what would you do? What does he need to do? I mean, I've got an idea, but it's your call.
Do you know, honestly, if I knew honestly, I have an opinion, and I would say there are certain players that I would drop, and I would like to actually see probably a 4-4-2, because we've tried the three in midfield, and I know when we talk about, you know, we've got to get the system right for Pogba. Whoever Pogba plays with, he's not going to deliver the way he delivered when he was at Juve. When he was at Juve, he played with real world-class players. We haven't got that. So we might have to go back to type for our club, which is 4-4-2, 2 strikers up top, two holding midfielders, and 2 people you can actually rely on the wing to get the crosses into the box for Zlatan and another, whoever that is. Because we haven't got that many games left in terms of at home and the league, and in terms of our league form. If we can grab 4 points between now and the end of the season, I'd be grateful. 2, I'd be surprised.
I mean, for me, I'll come back to that in a minute when Rodney's gone, actually.
Yeah.
For me, what I would do between now and the end of the season, and people who saw the show last night, would be this. I think the back four pretty much takes care of itself in the keeper. Yeah. I put Mkhitaryan on the right, Martial on the left. I put Pogba, Herrera and Carrick in the midfield. I'd put Zlatan up front, and that's it. And just play play every week. Even if it didn't work for the first 2 games, play every week and get a run of games, because he changes the team every week.
Yeah, do you know what? I understand. The only thing that I would say against the 3 in the middle is that they all a similar pace.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's where we're going wrong, because honestly, watching the game, we've got no one that actually has that 10-yard, 10-meter acceleration that says, I'm going to step away from a midfield and look forward and play the ball forward. And it's too many sideways passes. And you can play those 3, but I don't see with those 3, they will automatically drop deep. And then you've got Zlatan isolated up front. And I think
the problem is, if you don't play those 3, you know, there's only one other player, and it's his favourite. He's going to play for.
Yeah, well, yeah. Do you know what? Honestly, it's like the Grinch that stole Christmas. I don't even want to say his name. Even he looked good the other day. That's how bad it was. Even he looked good.
It's deja vu, because I remember saying this a year ago under Van Gaal. If you play Fellaini in the Manchester United team, you won't finish top 4. I can't believe we're doing it again a year later. And as I said at the start of the show, for who's joined us later, 38% win rate when Fellaini plays, 58% when he doesn't. We won 6 games in a row in the Premier League in December and January. He didn't play in bloody any of them. It's you know, if you're a stat person, which I'm not, it's staring you in the face. Yeah. Otherwise, if you're not a stat person, look at him on the pitch and look at how slow we move the ball. But that's not his fault. I hate him as a player at United, but it's not his fault. He doesn't pick himself.
No, you know, you're absolutely right in terms of the stats. I don't believe in the stats. I'm not interested in them. We do move the ball slowly, and it is like watching real life Sabutio. We can only go sideways so many times. And on Saturday, when I watched it, Lingard made so many runs. His movement was quite good on Saturday. I give him that. And he could not get the ball. the ball went side to side, and I was thinking, this kid is running around, and at no point has anyone. And Carrick looked at him and went the other way, and I was just thinking to myself, come on. Everyone in the East Stand was looking, thinking, why didn't he pass it forward?
Well, I'm glad
And
I
I'm
said
like,
it after the game on Saturday. I mean, you were at the game. And
Yeah.
I said it after the game, Well, Mourinho said after the game again, he came out with another perler. Mkhitaryan, Martial, Rashford and Lingard let the team down. They were rubbish. Carrick and Fellaini were superb with the back four. And I'm like, am I watching a different game? Carrick and Fellaini are moving the ball too slow. And when they do give it the forwards, they've got 4 or 5 players around them because they're not moving it quick enough. And you think, he's the manager.
Yeah. Honestly, he must have been watching it through a really thick lens, because that was not what I saw. Lingard had one of his better games. He honestly did. I think Martial had quite a good first half. And then I think in the second half, it was the point when he came down on the left-hand side and he cut inside, and I thought I was going to cross the ball over, and he spooned it over. And he could hear the fans' reaction. And I think to myself, okay, his confidence has gone now, because up until that point, he was cutting inside and trying to shoot, where he then changed his mind. And I was thinking, even when we have players who are explosive, and I don't even think they know what they're going to do when they have the ball, we don't play in a consistent. We don't give them the ball enough. We don't give them the ball. I tell you what, I've watched the Chelsea Man City game in the first half, and I watched Hazard. He don't track back, but the minute he gets the ball, he's explosive. You can't get the ball off him. Do you know? And I'm not thinking, how is it? There are ways of setting up a team. Someone in the Man United team has to be the outlet, and we have to actually say to them, look, you stay here. We're going to get the ball to you as quickly as possible. But when you've got players like Martial and Rashford who will make the runs, if it's going side to side, they're going to stop making the runs. And that's the same thing that happened when we had Falcao. The same thing that happened. Do you know? It's not as if our club has not had decent strikers. It's the midfield. The midfield need to wake up and say, right, my job is to get the ball from defence to the guys who score the goals as quickly as possible. And this possession football, honestly, I mean, I'm grey as it is, but it'll turn me like Santa Claus white at this point. I'm kind of fed up, and I can't. All I'm looking forward to now is to see what kind of transfers that we're possibly linked to, because I think for me the season's dead.
Thanks for calling in, Rodney. Brilliant as ever.
Cheers.
And please do call in again.
Will do.
I'm glad he said all that, because he basically, I think I've said it before, and obviously I don't have to say it again, but I think so many people are critical of people like Martial and Rashford and Mkhitaryan and Lingard, but they don't, and Mourinho sort of feeds that criticism, but it's not true. We're not moving the ball quick enough from the midfield. That's the problem against West Brom at the weekend. We didn't move the ball quick enough. But because Mourinho comes out and says Carrick and Fellaini were brilliant, fans who probably didn't watch the game or don't know how football works go, yeah, they were brilliant. Mourinho said it. Well, they weren't. They didn't move the ball quick enough. And they didn't have anything to do defensively because West Brom didn't do anything. It's the same as when Martial played against Liverpool and Mourinho came out and said he was rubbish. He wasn't rubbish. If you watched the watch along with us, he wasn't rubbish. Every time he got the ball, he had 5 players round him because the ball was being moved too slowly. You're only as good as the ball you get as an attacker, and to be honest, the attacking that we've provided has been rubbish. Indy, can you hear me?
Hello, Mark.
Hi, pal. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the fans. Okay. The fans, they've been saying things like, in that video yesterday, I seen they've been saying things like, Jose out. Those fans, I'm telling them right now, get that down in the comments right now. What other manager is there other than Jose Mourinho? We have a winner. Look what Louis van Gaal had. Louis van Gaal had a squad. Wait, whatever. Wait, my volume's a bit fucked up here.
I can hear you.
It's alright. Okay. Yeah, I think it was. Okay, so Mourinho is taking over a broken squad that Louis van Gaal left. He's trying to get rid of all Louis van Gaal's players. Mourinho's made 4 signings. They've all been successful. Louis van Gaal, he didn't have a broken squad. So what the fuck is wrong with these fans? If you're going to say Jose out, just seriously, go and fucking support a fucking different club. I fucking had enough of you. Seriously, plastic fans make me feel sick. For example, you know when Chelsea were near relegation with Jose Mourinho, the fans were backing Jose Mourinho. They're saying, I don't want Jose Mourinho sacked. So why are the fans in United so plastic?
Well, I do agree with you, Indy. I think you make a good point. And what I would say is that it's a minority, but there is, we've seen it. We've seen the video of somebody coming out and doing it. And I just think, I don't agree with that video even being put out. But I suppose if it's your channel, it gives you some exposure because controversy sells. But nobody's come on here. I wouldn't expect any United stand viewer to come on and say, I want Jose Mourinho out, because I think you are exposing yourself, like you say. I mean, I don't like the word plastic, I'll say that, but you are exposing yourself as being completely and utterly wrong. I know we sacked Moyes after 9 months, but he had 9 months too long. I mean, this is Jose Mourinho, and I think, as you said there, the job is huge. We've been saying it consistently all season, and I think some of the good results have sort of masked that we think we should be better. But this is still a squad of players and buys that were built by two managers in the main that would just never should have been Manchester United managers. What would you do? I asked Rodney, what would you do to solve it between now and the end of the season? We know we've got the summer. I'm going to do tomorrow a bit about what I think we should do in the summer. But what would you do between now and the end of the season? Because Mourinho has to take some responsibility. It's not been great. What would you do between now and the end of the season?
I would play. A team in the Europa League and the Premier League. For example, we have two squads.
Yeah.
But what Mourinho needs to do, what he did at other clubs, he needs to have one team and stick with it, because he's been constantly changing the teams, and he never used to change a winning team. So I think that's what Jose Mourinho should do.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Alex coming on the United stand at the very start of the season, and he said, we've got a big squad, but Mourinho won't use it because he likes to use the same team week in, week out, which is what historically he's done, like you just said there. But at Manchester United, he changes it every single game, and I agree with you. I think some consistency would help. Just very quickly, let me just update everybody on the scores. So we are going back to 6th, if we're not already. A lot of you probably watching it a bit later. We are going back to 6th. It's 2-0 to Arsenal, and there's only about 15 minutes left in that game. Spurs are losing 1-0 with 15 minutes. Liverpool are 1-1, but they've still got half an hour to go. So, the reality is we're not going to get top 4 because we can't win games ourselves. But do you think we'll win the Europa League?
I think we can win the Europa League, because we're in the quarter-final now, and we're good in 2 legs. I feel like we will definitely win the quarter-final, because the team we're playing will be in the semi-final. I feel like we will win it. We'll be in the final, but that's the game where we won't have 2 legs. So we must make sure we have, a strong squad for that final.
Good call, Indy, as per usual. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Cheers, pal.
Yeah.
Let me just end that. I have got to do Snapchat, and then I'll take another call. So I was just keeping an eye on the scores for you as well. Back to 6th. Back to bloody 6th. It's embarrassing because I said we would never go back to 6th once we got out of there. So, Twitter's going to be interesting tonight. But, my mates just text me. This is my best mate. He says, so depressing. Poole, of course, now take the lead and Arsenal winning. What a rubbish season. So Liverpool are actually, I think, in front again now. Yes, Origi has just scored. Don't get your hopes up that we were ever going to catch. We blew it last night, folks. We blew it last night. We've got to take our medicine. It's just not been good enough this season at all. You can Snapchat me, United Stand and UFC. I'm just going to do a few now while I've got you. And oh god, my camera's nearly gone. And we haven't got that many actually. Bex Howell.
I think after watching this game and the Everton game, we definitely need to sign a striker who can finish his chance, because this is awful.
We need to sign a striker, Keanu Jones.
Hi Mark, I don't think Mourinho's lost his mojo at all. I think it's down to the players and their lack of mentality and finishing.
Blaming the players and their lack of mentality. I do agree with you, but I think it's a collective. Mourinho was the one who went with the long ball yesterday, and he picks Fellaini every week. He's got to take some responsibility. Toby Cutler.
Yeah, the fans have to keep faith in him. He has not lost it. He was just reacting the way the fans would. Except with the Fellaini, I disagree with what he said about Fellaini.
disagrees with what I said about Fellaini. Wish he'd said a bit more. And David Kersley still think Mourinho has a future at United, but he must swallow his pride, leave his ego aside, and play the way that's best for the team. And I also would like to see him play more attacking football. We did play quite attacking at some stage.
Jose needs to get played, seriously. He can control the midfield, why not? He needs to stop playing. Mourinho, please play him.
Baban wants Fosu Mensah to play. Okay, let's take another call. Ashwin, can you hear me?
Yeah, Mark, I can hear you.
I just need to talk a bit. It's a bit quiet. What did you want to say?
Actually, firstly, I would like to assess Jose's time at United.
Okay.
I mean, I've got nothing against Jose as a person, but I mean, I admire him as the best counter-tactician and innovator of reactive systems in the world. But his style of play is desynchronized with the principles of a club. Like, first of all, I would like to talk about the model of the club which we are heading to. I mean, we are buying players from we are buying players at very high prices, and we are not developing a youth. We don't have a core of youth players who are coming from our academies, and the club is lacking stability. I mean, if you look at LGG's squad, we had a core of young players like Cameron Bothfield, Jackson, Varela, Lingard, Depay, and Rashford, even Shaw and Martial.
Okay, I think we've lost Ashwin. It did sound like he was underwater. Joe says Indy's a plastic fan. There was somebody on the live comments who was desperate to try and get on the show, so I forget the name, but give us a Skype, we'll get you on. Please do drop a like on the video. It's for those people who call in and all you lot who tried to call in, so please support Fan Opinion who call in on the Skype Goldbridge show, because it's very important. Tyrone Williams just reminded me about a comment he made. He said that last night against Everton, if Lukaku had a football brain, we'd have lost that game. And he makes a very good point. It reminded me that I'll come back to that in a minute. But hello, Nompilo, can you hear me?
Hi, Mark. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very good. What was it you wanted to say?
Sorry, I've been begging you to take my call. I'm just so frustrated right now. So, I've got a few things to say, and mainly my blame is actually not on Mourinho, actually. I blame the players. And I feel that there are only about 2 or 3 players in that team that are playing enough to fight for that team. And I would say Rojo, Bailey and Zlatan are the only ones that are showing me that they are fighting 100% for that team. Everyone else is just coasting along, because for the past 3 years, all of them have felt that they can put in performance of about 60% and feel like it's enough. They don't have to do more because everybody else is going to slate the manager, and they're doing it now again. Like players like Rashford. Like, I love Rashford, but I feel he's a one-trick pony. Without pace, what else is he doing? Because every time he gets the ball one-on-one with the keeper, he tries to score with his right foot, and the keepers have figured him out. And each time he misses, he gets more frustrated, and then for 10 minutes, you don't even know whether he's on the pitch or not. And I also feel Martial is not on form, and he hasn't been this whole season. Mkhitaryan, you get like... stop and starts, you look great for one game for 20 minutes, and the rest of the time you don't even tell whether he's on the pitch or not. And I feel that when people, like, I understand that people get mad when Mourinho goes out and says players are not performing, but that is the truth. They're not performing. And people like Valencia fights and fights for that team. You cross the ball, there's no one in the box, and people were saying, oh, okay, Zlatan is missing, put Rashford in front of the line. Rashford goes in front of the line. What did it do for those games when Zlatan wasn't there? Nothing. He was missing open chances. Sometimes his movement was like bizarre. Like, did you see on the game in the weekend? Every time you have a number 9 who's supposed to be in the box, and Rashford is trying to get on the side where Mkhitaryan is. How is he supposed to score if he doesn't even know his positioning? And people will be saying, oh, but Mourinho is playing him in the wrong position. He got his chance to play at number 9, and what did he do? Nothing. I'm honestly frustrated, and I feel that Mourinho needs to clean house. That team is full of people that are not fighting for that shit. I grew up with players playing like people like Keane. Keane would not have put up with what is happening right now, and even people like Ferdinand would not have put up with the performances that are happening right now. And I feel most of that stems from the club captain Rooney himself. If you look at, if Keane would never have put up with that, because you would slate players and tell them they need to do more. And do you think that anybody in that club, in that team, if Rooney went to Marshall and said, you are not performing, do you honestly think that Marshall is going to say to Rooney, I'm sorry, captain, I'm going to do more, when the captain himself is not performing? I feel some of these slack performances come from the fact that we do not have a captain. Our captain is not good enough. And we can blame Mourinho all we want, but most of those players are not performing, and it starts with the captain. There are only about 3-4 players that are fighting for that red shirt. Everyone else is just shit, in my opinion. I'm sorry for swearing, but
it's all right. It's all right.
No,
It's a very, 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 very passionate call. I think the way the Rooney thing is fantastic. What you've said there, because I think exactly football's meant to be better than it now. What it was 10, 20, 30 years ago. But you stick a Robson or a Roy Keane in that team, and you notice the difference. Obviously, you're a backer of Mourinho, I am, but I just think it's more collective. I think he's responsible as well. But obviously, you've made your point clear about the players, and I'm not going to question that. I think you've put it across really well. But what I would say, what about what I was saying at the very start? You know, we won 6 games in a row this season when Fellaini didn't play. We win 58% of our games when he doesn't play. We only win 38% when he does. Mourinho picks Fellaini. Fellaini slows us down. What's your thoughts about that? Surely the manager's responsible for that.
I'm not a fan of Fellaini, but I feel that fans use Fellaini as a scapegoat when everyone else is not performing around him. During the weekend, Fellaini had one of his best games in a while. Everybody else was shit, and people still said Fellaini this, Fellaini that. Fellaini hasn't done much wrong, except I would agree he cost us the game at Everton. But every other time, as much as you might hate Fellaini and say, and I don't like him either, I feel that he's not good enough for Manchester United. But then he's not good enough is still better than what some of these players that we think are better than Fellaini are performing at the moment. If you stick Fellaini in there, you know that Fellaini is going to try his best. Even his best might not be good enough, but you know that he's trying. Everybody else is not. Mkhitaryan, as much as I like Mkhitaryan, we can all agree Mkhitaryan has been shit for at least 2 months now. He's not performing. Martial is not performing. Rashford is a one-trick pony. Without his pace, what else is he doing? Nothing. The captain is not performing. Carrick, I feel, has games. Carrick only performs in Europe. That is the honest truth, because the game is slow. Then he's allowed to do all these penetrating passes. But in the Premiership, Carrick is shit. Pogba hasn't been good enough this season. There are times when he is good enough, but he's not good enough for that 90 million that we paid for him. And I feel that stems from the players around him. I listened to what Zlatan said after the game yesterday, and you could feel that Zlatan feels some of the people that he's playing with are not good enough. He was saying something like, if you're a lion, you feel like as a lion you go to the pitch, you want to fight with other lions, but Zlatan feels that he's not fighting with lions because there aren't any. The only lions that he's fighting with are Bailey, Rojo, and Valencia, and those are not the players that are going to win you the game. He needs people in midfield and up front to help him win, and he can't, and we can't. And every time people be like, oh, Zlatan missed 2 chances, Zlatan missed that, but how many of the goals that we've got were scored by Zlatan? How many has Marcus Rashford contributed? Rashford hasn't scored in the league since September. Like Mark, which top level player in the Premiership you want to win and you expect one of your supposedly best strikers hasn't scored in 6 months? Like, honestly, I love Rashford, but I feel that kid is not good enough right now, and even next season is not going to be good enough to lead that line. As much as people say Zlatan is old, yeah, he can go, we want Rashford. Rashford is not good enough to carry that team. He chokes week in, week out, and he only ever performs when you put him in for the last 15 minutes, because he knows if we lose, nobody's going to look at him. So as much as people can slate Mourinho and all that, I feel Mourinho has gotten to a point where he's fed up himself as much as I'm fed up right now. And I've never been somebody who says, "Oh, let's go, Mourinho, please come to Manchester United." I never wanted him at Manchester United, but I can understand why he's gotten to a point where he feels that the players are not giving him anything. It's not good enough. So I don't know. I'm sorry for screaming. I'm frustrated.
No, that's exactly why I've just let you talk. I think it's always best to let people get it off their chest. Very good call. I'm not going to add anything to it because you've come on and you've given a very passionate opinion of it, and I can tell from the live comments they've enjoyed it. Where are you calling from?
I'm actually calling from Wisconsin in America, but I'm actually from South Africa.
Ah, right, okay. First time on the show, obviously.
Yeah, Leka, I've always felt I need to be really passionate to come on, and the past 2 games have really gotten me there.
Well, definitely do call in again. I think the live comments have certainly enjoyed it, and please do call in again. Really good call.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Thank you. That's what we want. That's what we want on Skype Goldbridge. The less I talk, the better. The more you talk, the better, especially when it's passionate opinions. So what a great call that was. Please do drop a like on the video because I think that last call deserves it. We're 173 likes at the moment. Hit a like because I think Nompolo deserves it, and we should go up to about 250 on that because I think she deserves 100 likes at least. It was a fantastic call, whether you believe it or not. There was no opportunity for me to get into, which I thought was brilliant. Bad news in relation to the scores at the moment. It's 3-0 to Arsenal, so we are going back to 6th. It's 2-1 to Liverpool, and Spurs have got a late equaliser as well. So City are losing, but the worrying thing is that letting Arsenal back in and going behind Arsenal is they've got a very easy run in compared to us. I mean, like, why am I even talking about top 4? Why do we do ourselves to this? Geordie Devil did a fantastic tweet earlier. Let me just read it out here. He says 4th is teasing us like a Babe Station model, all foreplay and no payoff, and that is what it's like at the moment. Why do we put ourselves through it? I think we just need to park it and forget it because it's gone, it's dead, it's buried. We've been on for an hour. I don't propose to go on any longer. We will be back tomorrow night at 8:30. I may well do Skype Goldbridge again tomorrow, but I have got an idea for a show that I think you'll all enjoy tomorrow. So join us for that. It's right at the end of the show, so I will mention this, but I'll mention it on the show tomorrow as well. People will know that I'm not personally having a baby in June, but I will be a father of that child, I hope. I am. And that means that my time may well be restricted over the summer. But so what we're looking for is we've put it out on Twitter. We'll put it out here because it's the best place to do it, really. We're looking for people to get involved with the United Stand of a good quality without blowing my own trumpet. We're not just looking for... we want people who can commit their time and get involved in the show. And also, if you are from the Manchester area and you go to games and stuff like that and you want to film a bit around the grounds, we're not doing fan cams, don't worry. We've got some specific content ideas. Get in touch with us because we're looking for stuff like that. We'll help you along. You've got to have the talent to do it. We'll help you. We'll give you some advice. We'll give you some tips, etc. like that. Equipment, all that lot. So, but if you're interested in either, if you're in Manchester or if you want to get involved in this sort of thing, you've got to have the talent to do it. We'll help you out. Email soccerboxtv@gmail.com. Manchester based, you want to get involved in doing some filming and some recording stuff, or, you know, upcoming journalists or whatever it is. You're never too old as well. I'm in my 30s. My birthday on Friday. Yeah, we're looking for people to get involved. We're getting bigger and bigger on this channel. People like that come on. You know, there's so much scope for this channel, and we want more people to get involved as well. So that's very quickly. I'll cover it again tomorrow. I know this is late on in the show, but thanks everybody who's watching. We did go up to 225 likes, and I think that was totally because of the last caller. But we were blessed with very good callers, and Spurs are winning now. Oh, it doesn't rain, it pours, doesn't it? It really does. God, what a season. I'm not quite like Rodney hoping the season's over because I think we can win the Europa League, but I'm fed up with the Premier League. Thanks for watching. Speak to you all tomorrow at 8:30. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and do get comments below if you're not live and give us your thoughts, and we'll get replying to them as well. Thanks everybody. Fantastic show. I love doing these. I know it's a bit unscheduled, but I like it. I like getting all your calls and stuff because it's just real. It's real. Thanks for watching.